T-minus 10 minutes. T-minus 9 minutes. T-minus 8 minutes. T-minus 7 minutes. T-minus 6 minutes. minus 5 minutes. Minus for minutes. Minus 3 minutes. Minus 2 minutes. Minus 1 minute. Stand by.
How about that?
Heyo! Hello, Canada and hockey fans in the United States. Welcome to the RP Show. Time to get up and get moving. I feel like Ed Allen saying that, and only a certain amount of our audience will get that reference. It's the Rod Pedersen Show here on Game Plus Television. We're coming at you live from the Golden Ticket Sports Center in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. And the other half of the show is coming to you from Toronto, Ontario, Canada, the home of Ernie Coombs, as we talk daytime morning television figures out here in the West. Moose is in the East, Toronto, Ontario, Canada. How's the day, Governor?
Day is great, my man. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Good to be seen. Let's go. Here, our special guest is Eddie Steele, Grey Cup champion, but also from Edmonton Sports Talk Radio, Sports 1440. I don't know, is there something going on today that Edmonton might be interested in? The Quick Six Show horn blows. Moose, here's the big story. Number one, it's do or die for the Edmonton Oilers tonight as they look to avoid elimination and force a Game 7 in the Stanley Cup. The defending champion Florida Panthers, who lead the best-of-7 series 3-2, can win back-to-back Stanley Cup titles at home in Sunrise with a Game 6 victory here tonight. Okay, Moose, let's park it. We'll spend the entire opening segment on Game 6 tonight. I'm going to tell you something. As I left the house this morning here for the first of my 8,000-step walk, the very first guy I saw was a big silver Dodge truck, probably bought at Western Dodge, ripping down the street. And it's Moose Jaw, so you get it. You've seen it. A big guy in a big Dodge dually, and he's in an orange Oilers jersey. And I'm like, whoo-hoo, away we go, man. First guy I saw at like, whatever, it was 6:30 a.m. What's it like out there in Toronto?
Oh, yeah. You know, not quite like that. I wouldn't call it, like, we are not an oil country, but I would consider Saskatchewan part of oil country. I really think, you know, there's so many fans, especially older fans out in Saskatchewan, especially that, you know, are Toronto Maple Leaf, Montreal Canadian fans because they watched it for generations. But generally, and I know we call it the Bermuda Triangle, I think more than anything, fans in Saskatchewan are cheering for are Oilers fans. I really do. I really think they're Oilers fans. And so it's got to be orange everywhere. Not quite like that here, but I'm seeing some flags flying, man, and a few things, so it's good.
Look, I've done the studies. It's an Oiler province, but I want to pass something along here. Joshua Dorr checks in from South Florida. He says, what's going on, Rod? What's going on, Moose? That's my friend Joshua Dorr. Now, he's a fan of our other coverage, the Panthers show that I do, the Cats and Bolts podcast. But he brings up a good point. Before we get to the actual nuts and bolts of the game tonight, Darren, this is more than just a poll question. The poll question is today, for EMJ Marketing, by the way, who will win Game 6 tonight? And the last I saw, 68% of respondents saying the Edmonton Oilers. But it's like, do you actually think that they're going to win? Which is fair if you believe that. Or is that just who you're going to be cheering for? And this is a little upsetting. No, it's not upsetting to me. That's a choice if I want to get upset. But my phone's blowing up with my Florida people, Moose. Some of whom you know personally, some you don't. But they're like, who's going to win tonight, Rod? And I'm like, well, why do you ask? And they said, well, I don't know if I want to shell out the dough tonight, but because their tickets are going for like $5,000. Ryan Gottselig, who's a coach here, he runs Gottselig Athletic Performance. He leaned on this volleyball net about a half an hour ago, and we talked about the game and who's going to win tonight and why, and, you know, money on the game. Like, it's a big deal out here. And I'm saying to my Florida people, don't put that on me, because they're like, if we know the Panthers are going to win, we'll shell out $1,000 to go to the game. That's a minimum. There's tickets over 5,000 in the lower bowl there. Don't put that on me. But these are guys and that kind of ticks me off about the NHL, I'll be honest with you, or pro sports in general, because the NFL is just as bad with Super Bowl, that they're gouging the fans. Literally, like, just stay home and watch it. I don't know. It's a big deal. I will say this, with people asking for betting advice, do people ask you for betting advice? I will say this, nobody's ever come back to me when I was wrong and given me hell. And I will give them credit for that. But I've said Panthers in 6. I can't go away from them winning tonight. That would be Panthers in 6. So I will say Panthers. That's what I'm telling them. But don't get mad at me if they lose and you shelled out $5,000. That makes you a dummy. Go ahead.
You can't have any guarantees in sports. And to be honest, if you told them that the Panthers were going to win and then they shelled out the money and the Panthers won, I mean, you don't know if they're going to win. But if you knew they were going to win when you went to the game, then how good's that going to feel? Not that great. You know what I mean? When you already know the ending. That's why you have to go. You have to put the money on the line. You have to go there not knowing what's going to happen. And that's what makes sports so great. You know, I know there was legions of fans who left after the Panthers went up 3-0 in Game 4. I know. And the Oiler fans. And they didn't get to enjoy that comeback the same way that the fans who stuck with it got to enjoy the comeback. I watched it with Oiler fans. So go to the game if you're a Panthers fan, because there's a chance you can win. I just sent a message because I saw the Stanley Cup Twitter account tweeting, "I'll be in the building tonight." And I retweeted it and I said, it's always like, no matter who you're cheering for, whether you're cheering for Edmonton or cheering for Florida, it's always extra special as soon as the cup starts showing up, and it's showing up tonight.
Oh, I know. Phil Pritchard, who, by the way, has spent so much time in South Florida over the last year. Don't get mad at me. It's true. We follow the keeper of the cup on Twitter, Phil Pritchard. And, he got there late last night. I heard from Phil. We were at a party together last fall. Will they be staying in South Florida with the Stanley Cup? Who knows? John Ohm says ticket prices are insane. The thing is, who's the insane one? You all keep buying them. So maybe the fans are insane. I just saw a thing this morning from Chris Johnston, our good friend from Sportsnet, or is it TSN now? I can't keep them straight. He says that the salary cap's going to go up significantly more than they thought over the next couple of years, potentially up to $118 million. So you all keep paying. So who's the insane ones? You know, Joshua Dorr from South Florida. And I do appreciate my Florida people showing up here today, even though we're on Canadian Sports Talk Television. He says, I put my dollars on the Panthers in 6. I bet my house on it. You probably did, Josh. Upstate New York, Ryan Darren, I'll send you a photo of me and Joshua Dorr, by the way, from a recent Panthers. I know him. He has the money to spend, but that doesn't mean, what do they say? A fool and his money are soon parted. Or as my mom used to say, a guy with another guy with more money than brains. Producer Corey's laughing in my ear. Any last thoughts in the 30 seconds, Moose, before we break and come back with more fun and frivolity?
Oh man, we're just getting started. There's no last thoughts yet, man. I'm excited for today and tonight.
Last thoughts of this segment. Oh yeah, we got plenty more to get to, and people don't even know what's coming up on the other side. We're live on Game Plus TV, streaming and found on all major podcast platforms.
Hi, my name is Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Shania Twain.
Let's go, girls.
Live in Moose Jaw. Shania Twain. One incredible show. Live at Temple Garden Center, July 7th. With special guest, Lindsay L. Get tickets Friday, March 21st at 10 a.m. at the Temple Garden Center's box office or sasktix.ca. For more, visit ShaniaTwain.com.
Honky Tonk legend Mark Chestnut. Celebrating 35 years of music. Joined by special guest Aaron Goodvin. June 28th at Temple Garden Center. Tickets on sale now at Temple Garden Center box office or online at sasktix.ca.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. Moose had to run out for a dart. That's why we had to break early in this one, but we got a lot of time here in segment 2, and the Moose is back, and it was just a brief pause for the cause. And by the way, Joshua Dorr just has clarified from South Florida he only put $50 down on the Panthers to win this in 6. And one thing I love about Joshua Dorr is he gets me. He gets my humor, as do you, Darren. People know that I'm very rarely serious. You know that for sure. By the way, can we hear from some women, for the love of God? Nothing against the men, but the ratings show 32% of our audience are women. Can we hear from the ladies, please, and what you think's going to happen tonight? And also, I have some country music news coming up here, Darren, some CFL news, NBA, but just on the cost of money, where the hell is it? Jeff, the Stamps fan, says they only charge what folks will pay. That's the thing. I'm not mad at the teams per se. I'm disappointed that people need to make a decision between a mortgage payment and buying a hockey ticket. Like, it doesn't make sense. It's sad that they would have to make that decision, but the games are full. So BW in Edmonton says Oilers suites were sold out for games 5 and 7 before the Stanley Cup series even started. Crazy. And Nelson, our VP of Sim Events, says Skinner in the nets for the Oilers this morning, which means he will start tonight. So your thoughts on, did they talk about Leaf ticket prices in Toronto as much as I do?
Yeah, people do talk about them quite a bit. Like, it is crazy. Like, regular season game, $95 is like the lowest point of entry to get into a game. And that's like a standing room ticket in a special section, like with an obstructed view maybe. But they do talk about it. Not quite the same as people complain in other places. I think it's kind of, people accept it now, but a little bit. They do talk about it.
And the breaking news that Stuart Skinner will start tonight in Game 6. Let's break this down for a second. Folks, we have to talk about this. It's Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final, and I'm happy to do it. I think our viewers are too. Are we surprised that Stuart Skinner is starting? Like, coming out of the weekend, coming out of the Game 5 explosion, I was at a loss, and I'm a goalie guy. I literally flip a coin. I need the coin flip app on my phone because I don't know who they should start. Like, I'm guessing that they should go with Skinner, but neither one has lit the world on fire is the point. And that's why when I was talking to Ryan, the strength coach here this morning, and he's also a baseball coach and football. You might know him, Ryan Gottselig, actually, of the famous Gottselig athletic family. Yeah, unbelievable. He just leaned on this volleyball net, and we had a long talk about the Stanley Cup Final. God bless Canada. And he's like, does it matter? And he's an Oiler fan. Well, he's a Leaf fan, but for now he's in Oilers. Does it matter tonight, Darren? Like, do we expect Skinner to put up the plywood? I don't think I do.
They're both capable. They haven't played that great, but Skinner's the right move, I believe. I think we all largely agree. I don't know, but he's the guy who's got to play. And like, I don't know that they made the wrong choice by putting in Pickard. I mean, hindsight says they did, but I mean, I might have went to him as well. We talked about that a lot yesterday. I probably still would have went with Skinner and had Pickard as, to come in off the bench. But I mean, at the end of the day, you're going to, dance with the one you came with, right? And if you're going to go down in game 6, I want to go down with the guy who kind of got me there, which was Skinner. And it wasn't always a smooth flight the whole way. There was plenty of turbulence, but he's the guy who got you there. He's the guy who also got you to game 7 of the Stanley Cup final next year. So if you're going to go down, I don't want to go down with him being on the bench. I want him in the net.
Yeah, well, then they should have started him in game 5 because John Cooper would have, which is what I said last week, right? That's sticking with your guy. That's what Coop does. Now, before we switch gears and move on from the Western Dodge text line, and by the way, drive with confidence. Shop Western Dodge in Moose Jaw. Financing, selection, and service you can count on. By the way, everybody knows now, because I'm back for another summer, that I'm serious when I say how much I love Moose Jaw for many reasons. But one is, it's a hockey town. They remember Stuart Skinner in goal for Swift Current. They remember Seth Jones playing for Portland in the Memorial Cup in 2013 in Saskatoon. They were just talking about it the other day. It's a hockey town. They are all into this Stanley Cup final, man, and everybody's waiting for the summer to start. It may start tonight after game 6, but 68% of you are saying the Oilers will force a game 7. Gary in Winnipeg writes in, he says, if Marchand scores 3 goals, do we call it a rat trick? We'll find out. Darcy in Grand Prairie, Alberta, writes in, and he says 4-2 Oilers tonight. That is his prediction. Now, a couple other things, Darren, to get back on. Well, we are on the road. I'm going to go off the road for a second on the quick 6 show topics here. I got written other sports. Is there other stuff going on? Well, the Oklahoma City Thunder are a win away from the NBA title after beating the Indiana Pacers 120-109 last night. Jalen Williams dropped a playoff career-high 40 points and league MVP, SGA. If you don't know what SGA means, you're up. He added 31 to go along with 10 assists in the Game 5 win. Thunder can wrap it up Game 6. We watched a bit of the game. Didn't hold our interest. Switched over to Forensic Files. Where are you on the NBA Finals?
Yeah, I'm into it.
Yeah.
There's multiple Canadians in this series, which is exciting, but SGA is by far the biggest and most intriguing. And it felt last night like Oklahoma City finally, looked like the team that everybody thought would just roll through this NBA Finals. So we'll see if they can wrap it up and win this thing, or if it'll get extended to a Game 7. But it's been fun to watch a little bit here in the final.
Okay. So thank you, Allie from Texarkana, and for responding. I said I wanted to hear from some females. Can we hear from some more, please? Allie in Texarkana says, I love the Miller baseball content on Instagram. Those kids are funny. Oh, my God, don't get me started. That's the baseball team for which I broadcast, and they are funny. They went out to CF-18, 15-wing Moose Jaw, and got pictures taken in a CF-18 fighter jet. The whole baseball team was out there. Michaela does their social media, and it's kind of a Moose Jaw thing, Allie. I don't know what Texarkana, Texas is like where you're from, but I kind of feel like it would be similar. But the whole team went out to it's the Air Force base here for the Canadian Armed Force, Air Force, and they had a big time last night. Follow the Moose Jaw Millers on Instagram. I won't go any further than that, other than they're in Swift Current tonight. I love those kids, and they say they love me, and I'm having the best time broadcasting baseball in the Western Canadian Baseball League this year. And you got to love those team road trips. Oh, and by the way, Reg Dunlop writes in, that's his name on YouTube, Darren. He says, old timers remember Billy Charlebois. He was from Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, in the movie Slapshot. Tony from Cochrane, Alberta, writes in. He says, Skinner or Pickard is still just average goaltending. Advantage Bob. And the Cats win Cup number 2 tonight at home. What I do know is we will all be watching. And I'm just happy for my Florida people that they're so excited about the game tonight. If they're going to win it all, then I hope that they do win it tonight. I think it would tidy things up a little bit. But just seeing that guy barreling down Warner Street today in his big old Dodge truck and his orange Oiler jersey, I'm like, oh, God, I grew up an Oiler fan. This is an Oiler province. I've run the polls. I love the Oiler fans, too. I do. So to me, it's win-win, but I know that's hard to pass off. Another baseball note, the Blue Jays coming off 3 straight weekend losses to the Philadelphia Phillies, open a 3-game series tonight against the visiting Arizona Diamondbacks. Righty Chris Bassett will be on the mound for the 38-33 Jays. If you want to write off the Jays because they were swept by the Phillies, go ahead, but I think we would all agree they're far exceeding expectations already. Shohei Ohtani gave up an early run in his pitching debut for the Dodgers last night, but quickly made up for it at the plate with 2 clutch hits and a pair of RBIs and a 6-3 victory over the visiting San Diego Padres. Moving on to point 4, the quick 6 show topics, why many people showed up here today, and it is summer. The Canadian Football League. Here's your week 3 games. I feel like we have a lot to get into here, Darren. Thursday, Montreal at Edmonton. Friday, Saskatchewan at Toronto, and I'm starting to think I might be at that game. And a Saturday doubleheader, Ottawa at Calgary, in a rematch of the 2016 Grey Cup, I believe, and Winnipeg at BC. But in a rather unheralded move yesterday, Brad Paisley was named part of the Grey Cup Festival music celebration at the 112th Grey Cup in Winnipeg. I have no reason to think that we won't be there. Brad Paisley, this is country music. What do you think? Did you know? Did you know?
I mean, Brad Paisley's the man, yeah. And this is exciting. I remember when we went to Nashville on our sports trip, but back when we worked at the radio station in Saskatchewan, a bunch of our people got into a Brad Paisley music video, and I can't remember what place it was at now off the top of my head, but they stumbled in there. Brad Paisley is so cool. All his songs are good. And he adds star power to the Grey Cup again. I think this is tremendously exciting that he's going to be a part of it.
Everybody, we got great comments coming in from our beautiful listeners and viewers. So just I want to get to their comments. More women, please. Allie can't be the only one waving the flag. More women, please, writing in. She says, we used to have a minor league baseball team in Texarkana, the Texarkana Twins. They were good kids, too. COVID took it out, though. Just hang on. And she says, week 3 already? Gosh, summer is flying. Don't remind us, because summer is flying. But back to the Brad Paisley. I don't know if this is a good or bad thing, Darren, but if you notice, Brad Paisley is not Canadian. And I don't care. I don't care anymore. The fire's out. That whole it has to be Canadian acts at the Grey Cup. I think it's done. I don't care anymore. June 17th, 2025, the fire went out. Rod standing up for Canadian artists at the Grey Cup. Because I love Brad Paisley. But as I was go look at our Instagram story, as I was looking for songs to put up on our Instagram story announcing Brad Paisley at the Grey Cup, which was a very unheralded announcement, but I digress. One of the songs, the old red, white, and blue. He's American, for the love of Christ. Can we not get a Canadian in there? Wait, no, I don't care. I don't.
Yeah, right.
It's over. Okay, well, producer Corey doesn't understand. Corey, he just said in his ear, in my ear, that he's confused. For 100 years, Corey says, I don't care. No, if you'd listen to me, I'll tell you. For 100 years, I've said any artists at the Grey Cup, the Canadian Football League Championship, need to be Canadian. But because I've been trounced, kicked to the curb, left bloodied and bruised like everybody except for Luke Wilson that tries to stand up to the establishment, I've given up. I've officially given up. Get whoever the hell you want. I don't care anymore. And I like Brad. Okay, Corey, we got it. So I like Brad Paisley. Woohoo. Let's go. You clearly don't agree, Darren, with that pro-Canadian sentiment, which actually elbows up which is the biggest bunch of BS because I don't see the stadiums full in the CFL or the baseball stadium, elbows up. My rosy red ass. Rod's rant. You're welcome. Go ahead.
I don't even know where to go from here. No, it's good. I mean, I'm a fan. Yeah, like, it'd be nice if it was Canadian. I think that'd be a great thing. But I'm also okay if it's not. I think more star power we have involved with the games, the better. So I think that's good. I think, let's get everybody involved. Let's make this league as big as possible. And he's a star, and hopefully it attracts more people to the games. It's like Snoop showing up to BC Lions games. I'm all in favor of it, and let's just get more people in the seats.
It's okay. We will carry this over into the next segment, of course. I'm feigning anger, I think, but we need more star power. Oh, you're saying Canadians aren't big enough stars? Is that what you're saying? We don't have big enough stars?
Easy now.
Well, that's what you said.
Herbie brush. I'm not. I didn't say there was no stars.
The Weekend.
We just need
Blake, more. Brian Adams, Shania Twain, Ian Tyson's dead, but you get what's Anne Murray doing that weekend? We'll be right back after this.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Honky Tonk legend Mark Chestnut. Celebrating 35 years of music. Joined by special guest Aaron Goodvin. June 28th at Temple Garden Center. Tickets on sale now at Temple Garden Center box office or online at sasktix.ca.
Shania Twain.
Let's go, girls.
Live in Moose Jaw. Shania Twain. One incredible show. Live at Temple Garden Center July 7th. With special guest Lindsay L. Get tickets Friday, March 21st at 10 a.m. at the Temple Garden Center's box office or sasktix.ca. For more, visit shaniatwain.com.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
I'm Bridget Lequette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
All right, we're back, everybody. Back here on Game Plus Television, streaming as well. Please do me a favor. For all the people that are watching on YouTube, would you please go down and click like at the bottom of the screen? That would help us out a lot, the kids tell me. Moose is with us in Toronto. Already, we're into the final segment with Moose. And I'll tell you, I can't get over this, Darren. We're 30 minutes into the show. Pardon the interruption would be over by now. And we've talked about barely anything but gobbledygook. You know, it's a 2-hour show. I don't know how the hell they get that. But I guess they're more professional than us. They get all those topics in 30 minutes in. By the way, Paul in Humboldt says there are no superstars in the CFL, also none in Canadian music. You went there with the Ed Hervey line. Nice work by you.
I did not say there was no superstars. All I said is we need more, but you're right. We need more star power. We always need more, right? I mean, why would we settle? I think it's great. I think it's really awesome. Snoop. Was it 50 Cent last year? Brad Paisley. Carrie Underwood was in Hamilton at the Grey Cup. I think it's awesome. Let's keep building this thing. And, maybe we can get Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce to show up, too, while we're at it.
Allie in Texarkana says if they wanted Canadian, they should get Tate McRae. I love her. Well, she's a Stampeders fan, and she's a Flames fan. We won't hold that against her. And Kevin the Medium has checked in. Good morning, RP peeps. Listen, if we needed cheap, easy content to entertain people, that's when we talk about Canadian musical acts for halftime. But that's not today. It's Game 6 of the Stanley Cup. BW writes in, he says, the roster changes from last season to this season for both teams. Florida's bottom 6 are slightly stronger than Edmonton's bottom 6. Still taking Oilers tonight. Yes, says the guy in Edmonton. And that's the poll question today. Who wins Game 6? I guess you and I might as well continue down this road that we've been on. I'll take Florida. You're going to take Edmonton, right?
I am. And here's what I think tonight. The Stanley Cup's in the building. I think this game is going to be extremely tight and different. Like, I think it's going to change a little bit. I'm expecting, honestly, and this is, we haven't seen this, but like a 2-1 game, maybe over to like a 1-0, 2-1. I don't think there's going to be a lot of scoring. I think it's going to be very tight and very tense.
Oh, man, I just love the coverage. I'm not real ready for the hockey season to end. Full disclosure here, as a preteen or early teen, I would tape NHL games on the VCR and watch them back in the summertime. That's how much I love hockey and missed it in the summer. So just so you know, because I'm sitting here in the break, I'm surfing through Twitter and I'm seeing the comments from the morning news conferences and the morning skates. And Brad Marchand has denied the rumor that he gave free tickets to the guy to go close his garage door while the team was gone to Edmonton. He left his garage door open. And there was a rumor that he put it out on social media that he had free tickets for anybody that'll go close my garage door in Fort Lauderdale. Can you believe that? I totally do. But you got to say the Panthers look a hell of a lot more chill and veteran. Well, I think that than the Oilers in this series. Do you?
Oh yeah, it's why the pilot's more calm during turbulence than the passengers. They've been there. They've done this. They know that along this road there's going to be some losses. There's going to be some ups, some downs, and that's why even when the Oilers came back all the way in Game 4 and took the lead, they were able to push back and get that game into overtime. And then in overtime, it's anybody's game. I mean, it's such a comfort level to know that you've been there and that even if they lose Game 6, I don't think they're going to be panicking in Game 7. I mean, what a feeling.
Oh, this is what a feeling. Kubice has showed up from South Florida. I hear the Caribbean Cuban music in my. He just wrote in, "What's up, Rod? Gotta close Marchand's garage now, just in case." They all showed up here. B. Henderson in Winnipeg writes in and he says, Florida ends it tonight. It's going to be a blowout, and the fans in Edmonton will eat each other. Munsey did admit yesterday, the longtime Winnipeg Jets broadcaster, that forget this Canada's team BS in Winnipeg. Nah, they're not cheering for the Edmonton Oilers. I'd be disappointed, frankly, if they were. So I'm telling they are into it. Don't say that they're not into it in Florida. I don't know about all across America, but they are into this Stanley Cup final, and Allie is in Texas, obviously. Nelson, our VP of Sim Events, says, don't want the season to end, but the longer breaks in between games are killing me, though. Well, I'll pass along a tip for that. Find something else to do. You're welcome. It's not really killing me in between games. The players have said they need it. The older broadcasters like Eddie Olczyk told me, because I'm old. I need the time. We got to get back and forth with these. I don't like it either, but of the list of things to bitch about, that's pretty low on my list. I'm just going to say. Do you want to do, for spits and giggles, Canadian Football League picks while you're here? Why not? Are you prepared to do that yet? Yeah, you going to do that? Okay.
I can be.
Thursday, Montreal at Edmonton. And by the way, Edmonton Eskimos alum Eddie Steele is coming up next hour. We'll be talking Oilers, too, with Eddie. He is Edmonton's second most popular number 97. Montreal at Edmonton. Oh, man. They got a real humdinger starting it off Thursday night. What do you think?
They do. Montreal is the best team in the CFL, and so I'll take the Alouettes for that reason.
Boo! Did you hear that, Edmonton? Moose is taking Montreal. I'm taking Edmonton because I'm an Elk backer. Saskatchewan at Toronto Friday night. Again, I might be there. You and I need to talk about that. I'm going out for an event. We're broadcasting live from Joe Dogs in Burlington on Friday. Tell the world. We're broadcasting from Joe Dogs in Burlington on Friday, part of a big special event that's happening this weekend down there. And I may go to the Riders and Argos on Friday night. I'm not sure. I gave you enough time to think about it, the game.
That would be fun, man. We'd take the train down there. Maybe we do like an IG live outside the stadium or inside the stadium. We could have a lot of fun with this.
I need to talk to the people that are bringing me out there if that's available, if that's a thing. I would like to do that with you. And I'm dropping it on you on live television across Canada right now.
Yeah.
I didn't even tell you. You knew that I was coming out there. You just didn't match up the dates yet. And nor did I. It's on both of us.
And if our schedule
Having said all of that, I'll take... You're telling me the Argos aren't looking too good at this to start this year. And the Riders, my God, they're going to the Grey Cup. So what are we thinking?
Yeah, I'm thinking Riders.
You homer! I'll take Toronto.
I never forget
just
where I'm
to
from.
Be a flouse. Yes, you do. Saturday doubleheader. Ottawa at Calgary. Is their quarterback healthy yet? Drew Brown? Oh, there's... Hey, Stampeder fans, get to the game. Buy a ticket at McMahon. Oh, but we have the mountains. The mountains will be there on Sunday, too, last I checked. Buy a ticket and go to the game, Stamps fans. Stamps for me, baby.
This one really bugs me. Or not bugs me, but this one is difficult. I really think Ottawa's a team that's going to be better. It all depends if Drew Brown's healthy, but I'm going to go with Calgary, too.
Okay.
VA has given them a real shot in the arm.
And the Winnipeg Blue Bombers at the BC Lions. And tell me, by the way, okay, Nelson's got the sim results here for the CFL games. He's got the Riders winning. Okay, I'm changing my pick. They haven't kicked off yet, so I can change my pick. I'm picking Riders as well. Winnipeg at BC. What are we thinking there?
One.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Lions. They got some more time off. I think the Lions will
Homer.
back.
Oh, you're not from there. I'll take the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And that's what the sim says. Ryan in upstate New York writes in, the mountains will be there on Sunday too. LOL, I'm dead. Oh my God, that'll be the thing when the stadium's empty for a Saturday Rider game. Thought you didn't go to Thursday games. The gas is too expensive. They made us show our vaccine cards in 2021. I'm not going. Jeez, enough. Elbows up.
They said the gas was too expensive when it went up from 49 cents a liter to 59 cents a liter.
Yeah, it's $1.35 now, by the way. $1.27 on South Hill. What is it for you in Toronto?
It fluctuates here more than anywhere I've ever seen, but it's about $1.30.
Carlos says that might be the meme of the day. The mountains will be there on Sunday, too. You're welcome. Calgary Stampeders and CFL. Okay, Moose, stay out of trouble this afternoon for the love of God.
All right, I will. Have a great day.
Darren Moose DuPont joining us from the center of the universe, Toronto, Ontario, Canada. We'll be back with a sports update viewer takeover right after this.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
I'm Bridget Lequette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Shania Twain.
Let's go, girls.
Live in Moose Jaw. Shania Twain. One incredible show. Live at Temple Garden Center, July 7th. With special guest, Lindsay L. Get tickets Friday, March 21st at 10 a.m. at the Temple Garden Center's box office or sasktix.ca. For more, visit ShaniaTwain.com.
Honky Tonk legend Mark Chestnut. Celebrating 35 years of music. Joined by special guest Aaron Goodvin. June 28th at Temple Garden Center. Tickets on sale now at Temple Garden Center box office or online at sasktix.ca.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It's the RP show. It's just me and you. Sorry, till the top of the hour, and then 15 minutes into hour two. And that's when Eddie Steele will join us from Sports 1440 Edmonton. Life is great. I hope it is for you. I'm heading into the Queen City this afternoon to have lunch with my good friend Alan Kaler. He's what he calls a sober consultant. But he's a man who has walked through fire, came out the other side, carrying buckets to people that are still in the fire. And he's speaking tonight at the RCMP Heritage Center. Get your tickets for that recovery community event. I won't be at that game. At that event. I'll be watching Game 6 of the Stanley Cup. And I'm finally getting a haircut this afternoon. Those are the things that make me happy. Just before we break, Wayne in BC says, Rod's on fire today, and it's only Tuesday. LOL. Life's good, man. Life is good. Tony from Cochrane, Alberta says, if you sit on the sunny east side, you can see the mountains from McMahon Stadium. That's all I'm saying. I don't know what it is. I just come from that era of Canadian Football League football where we had 30,000 plus. It was like not a big deal in Edmonton, Calgary, BC, Winnipeg, which they still do, Sask. And they're struggling in those places, and I hear every excuse under the book. I spent a lot of time in Calgary, and the mountains was a big one. And to say that you could sit on the east side is true, but that's not being in the mountains. Tony, you tried to pull a fast one. I remember driving around Calgary with my dad back in the day, and I said, Dad, those mountains are beautiful, aren't they? And he goes, yeah, but you can't eat the mountains. As he was like leaning on the steering wheel like those farmers did. And I knew exactly what he meant. We make our money, son, growing wheat, raising cattle. Got it. I got it. He didn't have to explain. As producer Corey says, not sure if the mountains have much of an option to move. Has anybody looked into that? Okay, hang on. BW in Edmonton writes in regarding Game 6 of the Stanley Cup. He says, if the Oilers don't win tonight, McDavid will not re-sign with the Oilers. He will sign in the Eastern Conference or follow Ken Holland to L.A. Don't hate me, Rod. Listen, I don't care where Connor McDavid ends up, but let's just, yeah, that's not something to think about for now. Just hope for the best for tonight from an Edmonton perspective. And by the way, Edmonton, let's get on this. And again, Eddie Steele will be with us next hour. We've said it many times, our ratings and analytics show, we have a big following in Edmonton, even though I'm wearing a Panthers shirt. I know you're not going to get mad at me now because that's where I live, and those are my friends. If Edmonton wins, I'll be happy. And then they got to win Friday in Game 7. But as Ryan Gottselig, who runs Gottselig Athletic Performance here in the Golden Ticket Sports Center, said this morning, he leaned on this volleyball net, and we talked for quite a while, and he goes, it won't matter. One game really is what this comes down to for now. Bobrovsky versus now Skinner, we've learned this morning. One game you're taking Bob, I think. So again, I'm saying the Panthers will win. My prediction was Florida in 6. But the odds makers said Oilers in 7. So we got a lot to unpack here. Because if the Panthers do clean it up tonight and win at home and blah, 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 why would we ever listen to the odds makers, you know? What factors did they use to say Edmonton in 7? Because this series, while tight at times, in the 2 games that weren't overtime games, the Panthers outscored them 11-3, and goaltending was a complete write-off for Edmonton. Did they not think to take that into, you know? Not getting into a debate over McMahon Stadium in Calgary. Yeah, it's a dump, but you can go there for 9 games a year. 9 days, that's not a lot. Saddledome ain't exactly comfortable, and they pack that place for 41 games a year, and I don't see you bitching about that. I guess I can skip past the sports update that involves Game 6 of the Stanley Cup. We've talked about that a lot. NBA, the Oklahoma City Thunder are a win away from the NBA title after beating the Indiana Pacers 120-109 last night. Like I said, we tuned in a portion of it. It just didn't hold my interest. I'm sorry. Jalen Williams dropped a playoff career-high 40 points. SGA of Hamilton dropped 31. In the victory, the Thunder lead the finals 3-2 with Game 6 set for Thursday in Indianapolis. For those that are far more into the NBA than me, I know a little bit about it. I don't know a lot. Oklahoma City's never won a championship before, right? And I don't think their predecessor, the Seattle Supersonics, did either. And so good for Oklahoma City if they wrap this thing up. I'm sure nobody in Seattle will feel any comfort at all if the Oklahoma City Thunder win. You know, it reminds me of the Washington Nationals winning the World Series. I was laying on the bed, watching it on the big screen when they won it, the Nationals, thinking, that's my Expos. And I felt a bit of a thing, but I don't think anybody in Montreal did. It would be really nice if the NBA went back to Seattle, wouldn't it? But Oklahoma City's never won, and I don't think the Sonics did either. That's a pretty big deal. I would also like to get to Oklahoma one day, but I kind of feel like I'm living there. I feel like this is very similar. 902-518-3033 is the text line for Western Dodge and Moose Jaw, which I'm not even fully through the sports update. The Canadian Grand Prix will stay on the Formula One calendar through 2035 after a new 4-year extension. Race promoter Octane Racing Group and government officials made the announcement this morning in Montreal. The deal follows Sunday's well-attended race, which drew over 350,000 fans across the weekend. The Toronto Blue Jays look to bounce back tonight as they open a 3-game set against the visiting Arizona Diamondbacks. The Jays are coming off a weekend sweep at the hands of the Philadelphia Phillies. Right-hander Chris Bassett starts for the Jays, while Arizona counters with righty Brandon Pfaadt. Bomber Boy was writing in saying the Blue Jays are welcoming back 2 former faces tonight. Who are they? Todd Stottlemyre and Paul Molitor? Are those the 2 familiar faces, or are there 2 former Blue Jays in the Arizona lineup that you're speaking of, Bomber Boy? Please tell me. I've just seen photos of Stottlemyre and Paul Molitor, it wasn't Paul Molitor. Hang on. Pat Borders. Pat Borders, the catcher. That's who it was. What are they? Are they working with the Diamondbacks? I know Stottlemyre lives in Phoenix. We've had him on this show. Canada kicks off in the CONCACAF Gold Cup tonight against Honduras at BC Place Stadium in Vancouver. Under coach Jesse Marsh, the men's national team has just 1 regulation loss in its last 10 matches. And Jay Monahan is stepping down as PGA Tour commissioner next year, with NFL executive Brian Rolapp taking over as CEO. Rolapp was introduced this morning and becomes the first CEO in the tour's history. Monahan will remain on the board through 2026. There is your sports update for Heavy Jim on this Tuesday. Your best self is just a challenge away. Push your limits, conquer your goals, and become the strongest version of you. Visit us at heavygym.ca, where transformation happens. That's another thing, as I flip over to the text line, and I'll get to that right away, where I just got a lot of things go, for instance, the gentleman saying, if the Oilers lose tonight, McDavid won't sign an extension. How do you know? How do you know? I don't feel like it's a Mitch Marner situation there. Marner appears done. Well, he is done in Toronto. You guys have all mourned that in Toronto. That's his hometown. I think it would be very tough for him to play there, given the weight of his contract and how long he's been there. Tavares is a different story, but he's a free agent too, right? But we're talking about Connor McDavid. He really seems to love Edmonton. Maybe he loves the idea of finishing what he started there. He's going to be the highest paid player in the NHL on his next deal. And it's not something the Oilers fans need to be worried about today. But that's how fans think. I've said it many times as we were leaving the press box on Friday night at the ballpark here. All Oiler fans or Canadian hockey fans there. I'm like the only guy that's somewhat rooting for Florida. When I say somewhat, it's because of Edmonton. The reason I say somewhat Florida is because if Edmonton wins, they won't upset me either. I'll be happy for them. But after they won in overtime game 4, I don't want to say the guy's name. It might have been James Gallo. He pounded the table. Oilers got it now. Why? Because they won in overtime? Come on, James. I did bring that up with him on Sunday at the ballpark. They don't have it. It's a reaction thing. Allie in Texarkana says parts of Oklahoma is really pretty. Well, a lot of Moose Jaw is really pretty too. Oh, I tell you, I go for these. This morning it was a 7,800-step walk. It's like my favorite thing to do now. I can't wait to get out of bed in the morning and go for these walks and listen to these videos on YouTube. Oh, I love it. Hey, Kubice, still with us. Despite all the Canadian sports talk, my guy Dennis has stayed with us from Florida, Kubice. He goes, I get it. I would actually root for McDavid if he wasn't playing my Panthers. LOL. Again, we don't know. Unless you know something, BW. I mean, what, his wife's investor is, they're married now, right? They're, and how do we know that? It's so creepy that we would all know Connor McDavid's wife and that it's Lauren, right? And she's investing in a bar in White Avenue and blah, blah, blah. He just seems like an Edmonton guy. I feel like he's not going anywhere, but that's just me. Hey, Tony from Cochrane, Alberta, writes in. He says, there are 2 Canadian starters on both the Pacers and Thunder, so it's a win-win for Canadian basketball. Like I say, we watched it for a while. I watched the intros last night. I said, hey, the NBA has the best intros in sports, like the player intros. But we didn't, I don't know, got bored. Like bored enough to switch over to my favorite show. Well, America's Got Talent's my favorite non-sports show, but it's not on Monday nights. What are you laughing at? So we watched Forensic Files. I said, Joe, watch this. It's like Dateline, but it's in snack size 30-minute, and the narrator's really creepy. We'll be back with hour 2 after this.
Honky Tonk legend Mark Chestnut. Celebrating 35 years of music. Joined by special guest Aaron Goodvin. June 28th at Temple Garden Center. Tickets on sale now at Temple Garden Center box office or online at sasktix.ca.
Shania Twain.
Let's go, girls.
Live in Moose Jaw. Shania Twain. One incredible show. Live at Temple Garden Center July 7th. With special guest Lindsay L. Get tickets Friday, March 21st at 10 a.m. at the Temple Garden Center's box office or sasktix.ca. For more, visit shaniatwain.com.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
I'm Bridget Lequette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Hi, my name is Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
All right, welcome to hour 2 of the RP show, everybody. We've got a wonderful community thing going on here today amongst the viewers. We are the most interactive show on television and streaming, of course, and in the podcast world, found on all major podcast platforms. DD was with us last hour. Darren DuPont from Toronto. Coming up later on this hour, Eddie Steele joins us from Sports 1440 Radio Edmonton and a Grey Cup champion with the Edmonton Eskimos. Here, by the way, are the Quick Six show topics. Our producer, Corey of Skycron, our new producer here in episode number 1516, has suggested we come up with RP show branded kazoos. I think it's the greatest idea you've ever had, Corey. Would you buy one, folks? Give them to the kids? His whole life's work has been to come up with that idea. I feel like it would be give these out at games. Noisemakers? We could throw a McDonald's logo on it or something? Okay. I mean, sell sponsorship. Okay. The big story of the Quick Six show topics, just to recap for everybody that just got in late. Game 6 of the Stanley Cup final goes tonight in Sunrise, Florida. Do I wish I was there? Tickets are going for $5,000 for the game. And on the high end from what I'm seeing, you Florida peeps that are watching, which a lot of you have tuned in here today, thank you for that, to see what we're talking about with the game. I'm pretty sure nobody in Florida is talking about it. It's just the way that it is. But the poll question is for EMJ Marketing, who will win Game 6? And by the way, expert voices, impactful messages, discover the perfect speaker at EMJ Marketing. Go to emjmarketing.com for more information. We talked about this right off the top of the show, and for those that missed it, it's not just a poll question. I'm slightly annoyed that my friends, some of them in Florida, are texting me today saying, who's going to win tonight? And I said, why do you care? You've never asked me that before. And they're like, well, I can't decide if I'm going to shell out the dough to go. $1,000 to $5,000 for the Game 6 of the Stanley Cup final tonight. And I'm like, yes, I think they're going to win. I picked the Panthers in 6. I'm going to do a major victory lap if it comes to fruition. But I'm like, and I told them, don't put that on me, because if I'm wrong and you're going to put that on me, that you shelled out $5,000 to go, that's on you, not me. A lot of things would have to go wrong for Florida to lose tonight. Let's put it that way. Bob would have to implode, which he just doesn't do in his 64th consecutive playoff win. Start. I wish it was his first 64th consecutive win, but 64th consecutive playoff start. They're rolling. They're confident. I can't say that the Oilers aren't either. McDavid continues to look very focused. But in their losses for Edmonton, they've blown up as a team. They couldn't score on the power play when they were given the opportunities. Come on, Edmonton, you know that's true. You watched the games just like me. Game 5 was not over, even though they were down 2-0 in the first, which Stuart Skinner could have allowed those goals just as easily as Calvin Pickard. But you had your chances. You didn't put them away. That's not to say that you won't tonight. The odds, by the way, continue to love the Oilers. I mean, where are these odds companies coming from? These betting companies, are they Canadian? The odds are that Edmonton wins tonight and forces Game 7 Friday. That's what I saw this morning on SportsCenter. And for those that don't know and why we love Canada so much, there's a lot of reasons. Like any country, there's pros and cons. But for me, a major pro was walking out of the house this morning, getting ready to go on my 800-step walk today and listen to Denzel Washington videos. And the very first guy I saw comes barreling down Warner Street. Big Dodge truck, hat, fuzzy hair, and an orange Oilers jersey. Yep. I'm in Western Canada. There ain't no doubt about that. First guy I saw. They're hyped for Game 6 tonight. I can't wait. Not sure what's on the menu tonight. Did pizza Saturday. Can't do pizza every day. Well, you can, but you shouldn't. I had written, from the text line. Oh, they're all, Ron in Calgary writes in on the 403 on the Western Dodge text line. He goes, okay, great season, but I'm done. Florida 6, Edmonton 4. Go CFL. There are a lot of CFL fans that have come here to talk, and yes, it is summer after all. I get it, but it's also Canada, and it ain't summer yet until the hockey season's over. You get me. Point two is, morning, guys. As I say, Moose Jaw Miller Express baseball team, they come in here to work out on the day of games. They are at Swift Current tonight. After visiting 15-wing Moose Jaw yesterday, Canadian Air Force Base. That was pretty cool. NBA, tried to watch it last night. It's not their fault. I just wasn't into it. But what I will tell you is the Oklahoma City Thunder are a win away from winning it all, which people have not confirmed or denied would be the first ever for them. I'm sure it is. They beat the Pacers 120-109 last night to go up 3-2 in games. The Blue Jays, coming off that sweep of being swept by the Phillies on the weekend in Philadelphia, open a 3-game series tonight against the visiting Arizona Diamondbacks. And then CFL Week 3 opens Thursday. Darren and I made our picks last hour. You're welcome. And these were difficult. Montreal at Edmonton Thursday. That's a doozy and a hard one to pick. Eddie Steele will be with us next segment. Did I tell you that? I know I did, just reconfirming. I took the Eskimos. Darren took Montreal. Friday, Saskatchewan at Toronto. I'm going to tell you all what's going on. I've got slight anxiety, but not major anxiety. Just I don't care to travel at my advanced age anymore. But we are being brought out to the Burlington area, Hamilton, Toronto, Burlington area, southern Ontario. And we'll be broadcasting Friday's show live from Joe Dog Sports Bar in Burlington. Oh, I feel like Don Cherry just hit me. Grapes. And we'll have a bevy of CFL guests there, including Tony Gabriel, also Leo Ezrins, Ticats alum, and Darren Burns is the first man that anybody knows to have played high-level tackle football. Darren's the guy that is bringing us down there, putting on the show. Their senior football game is Saturday night, but we're going to do this live show from Joe Dogs. The CFL greats will be with us this Friday. So I'm traveling Thursday. Darren's got the show, producer Corey, just so you know. Darren's hosting Thursday as I travel. Friday's the big show from Joe Dogs. That's going to be amazing. Yeah. Brad Paisley was announced. Oh, hang on. I'm getting ahead of myself. Friday night, Saskatchewan Roughriders, the team for which I broadcast their games for 20 years, are at the Toronto Argonauts. And we've both picked the Riders to win. Our VP of Sim Events, Nelson Hackowich, ran the computer simulations and says the Riders will win in a rout. And I'm sitting there going, I'm going to be in Southern Ontario. I don't think I have anything to do Friday night. Why the hell wouldn't I go to a CFL game? Let's go there in glad hand. And let's see my friends of both teams. I can't confirm we're going to go there, but it just hatched on us an hour ago, Moose and I talking about that. And then it's a Saturday doubleheader. Ottawa at Calgary. Calgary, buy tickets and go. I won't drop the line that I did last hour, even though it was funny as hell. Okay, I will for those that missed it. Everybody, I've spent a lot of time in Calgary. Lived there. Went to college there. And those Saturday games, people bitch and say, well, we got the mountains. You got all year to go to the mountains. You got Sunday to go to the mountains. The mountains will be there on Sunday. Go watch the Stampeders in Ottawa, okay? And then later on that night, it's Winnipeg at BC. Again, we made our picks last hour. And what do we have here? Colt writes in and says, let's go Montreal, LA, Montreal. Let's go Montreal in Francais. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, Rod, you are still a young man. Says who? Says who? Trent in Norway writes in, I appreciate you, Trent. He says, Seattle/Oklahoma City has never won the NBA title yet. Source, Wikipedia. Okay, thank you. Well, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. The Oklahoma City Thunder are on the cusp of the franchise's first ever championship. First regular season NBA game I ever went to was in Tacoma, of all things. This show is carried on TDS cable in Washington State and Oregon, so you guys will appreciate this. The very first NBA game I ever saw was in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, a neutral site preseason game between the Minnesota Timberwolves and Dikembe Mutombo, an intimidating force, against Craig Elo and the Atlanta Hawks at SaskTel Center at that time, Sask Place. I fell in love with pro basketball in the NBA there, even though I know nothing about it and still don't. So a couple of years later, when we were on the road with the Prince Albert Raiders, we were in Seattle, and I was trying to get some guys to go with me because I saw that the Seattle the Key Arena was being renovated. So they were playing down the road in the Tacoma Dome. And the Seattle Supersonics had 2 home games that week, one against the Minnesota Timberwolves, ironically, and the other against the LA Lakers. Nobody wanted to go. Nobody wanted to go. So I went on my own, and I rode the shuttle from Seattle down to Tacoma, managed to live and tell the story, and still continued to love the NBA. And the Supersonics were great. They gave me a media pass. I sat courtside. Mike Brown was with the Timberwolves. It was a long time ago. What else do we have here? You guys are all having your conversation amongst yourselves, so that's totally cool. Western Dodge brings you the text line, 902-518-3033. Looking to trade up? Western Dodge makes it easy with top dollar trade-ins and unbeatable deals. Kirk in Toronto writes in, and he says, hey, Rod, Nick Arbuckle had better start playing like a Grey Cup MVP, or Tucker Horn may show his skills. Chad Kelly is still weeks away. That's CFL talk. That's code for CFL. The league MVP from 2 years ago, Chad Kelly, hurt to start the season for Toronto when their starter, Nick Arbuckle, has struggled. The Argos 0-2 to start the season. He goes on to say, yes, Rod, just buy a bleeping ticket for the love of Pete. Dumps like McMahon have character. Yeah, if you're only going 9 days out of the year, it's not that big a deal. I always like McMahon Stadium. I feel bad for the Stampeder players and the staff. I get it. It was like us at Taylor Field. Everybody that went 9 days out of the year were like, oh, it's a holy place, like Fenway Park or Yankee Stadium. Yes, that's 9 days out of the year on game days. For the other 356, whatever, I'm bad at math, it should be condemned. But you can go as a fan. Gary in Winnipeg writes in, and thank you for getting me on track, Gary. He says, well, number one, he says, hopefully Brad Marchand gets a hat trick and Bobrovsky gets a shutout. It will be nice to see Paul Maurice get a second Stanley Cup win. I was thinking about that last night, oddly enough, things that occupy my mind. When Paul Maurice was handed the Stanley Cup last year, and that I've seen that image and video a million times living in South Florida since, which is great. We all love Paul. When he said on Hockey Night in Canada, before he left the ice in the interview, whoever he was with, if I could have one thing, it's for Winnipeg to win the next Stanley Cup. And then the Jets were rolling on their way to winning the President's Trophy, and the Panthers were doing their thing in the East. And I'm like, what if they play each other in Stanley Cup, Paul? What would you say then? And now the Jets are a distant memory. And here's Pomo, 1 win away, which is a whole other thing, man. Do you understand how similar life is to sports? Sports is a mirror of life. And I really wondered how, when the Panthers went up in the Stanley Cup last year, 3-0, and then the Oilers roared back to tie at 3-3. And then you got Game 7 in your barn, which is what happened. What the Panthers must have been thinking, literally, when they laid down at night or woke up because those are the key moments in sports and maybe life, but I've never been outside of sports. What do you think when you lay down at night? What runs through your mind? Like, was Paul Maurice thinking, oh my God, if we lose tomorrow night, Game 7, we will go down in history as the biggest chokers in NHL history, maybe sports. And he said when they won in the news conference after, not on the ice, that he never allowed himself to think about it, is my landing the plane on this long story. Never allowed themselves to think about. So when they say doubts creep in, or those recesses of your mind, the winners don't allow it to creep into they don't allow it. So think about that. Stew on it. Which, by the way, here's one. I see Trump's leaving Kananaskis early, which I reluctantly bring up politics on this show. But you guys were saying here yesterday, how do you know, Rod, that Kananaskis Golf and all the golf courses aren't out the money for the 2 weeks of the G7s there. I'm like, well, number one, common sense. Number two, if you don't know that, you know nothing about business, which I operate too and have for a long time. And number three, I actually called friends at the golf course yesterday after the show, and I said, hey, there's some viewers on my show said you guys are going to be out revenue because there's no rounds of golf there for 2. They broke out laughing. Literally broke out laughing. And they very clearly said, don't name us specifically, but they're like, do you think we're going to close down the golf course in peak season in the longest daylight hours just to be good guys? Come on, you guys. Wipe your nose. Probably these 2 weeks will probably make their budget for the whole year. Get about no rounds of golf. Yeah, Jeff, the Stamps fan, he left already. Trump did, but everybody else is still there. So they're not losing money. Come on, you guys. Yes, I'm coming, Troy, to Burlington on Friday. We'll discuss that later. Eddie Steele in next. Did you say 15 seconds? Yeah. Burlington, Joe Dogs. Yes. Forward.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
I'm Bridget Lequette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Shania Twain.
Let's go, girls.
Live in Moose Jaw. Shania Twain. One incredible show. Live at Temple Garden Center, July 7th. With special guest, Lindsay L. Get tickets Friday, March 21st at 10 a.m. at the Temple Garden Center's box office or sasktix.ca. For more, visit ShaniaTwain.com.
Honky Tonk legend Mark Chestnut. Celebrating 35 years of music. Joined by special guest Aaron Goodvin. June 28th at Temple Garden Center. Tickets on sale now at Temple Garden Center box office or online at sasktix.ca.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. The RP Show continues on a Tuesday. We're having a great day. Episode number 1516. And Friday's show live from Joe Dogs in Burlington, Ontario. Troy in Toronto asked if the public can show up. Yeah, why the hell not, Troy? If you show up and they say that you can't, tell them Rod said you can. Live from Joe Dogs in Burlington, Ontario on Friday. Eddie Steele, you know Hamilton. I'm feeling like Don Cherry here doing a live sports show at a sports bar in Southern Ontario, man. We're doing it. That's pretty cool.
Hey, you're doing it just like grapes, baby.
Exactly. Eddie, where'd the fat go? What's going? You need to start eating something, my guy. What's going on?
It's gonzo, man. And I'll never have to see a double team again.
Yeah, no kidding. Edmonton's second most popular number 97. Eddie Steele joins us, a Grey Cup champion with the Eskimos back in 2015. Eddie, what is the town going through? I can't even imagine.
Oh, man. Let's not talk CFL. What the town is going through right now is angst. Clearly the Oilers, they didn't show up last game. And quite honestly, RP, people are vocal about it out here, but I feel like I'm one of the more vocal people. The big dogs got to show up. Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl need to play better in the biggest moments of the season, and I expect them to come out and have a big game tonight.
Well, listen, you're on Sports 1440 Edmonton, and you realize pretty fast, I think, you've got a lot of pro sports friends. Well, you played in the Canadian Football League for a long time. The concepts of sport transfer from sport to sport to sport. You realize that pretty fast, I would think, when you got on the air.
Absolutely, man. They're all, the sport itself, the game, it's different, sure. But the intrinsics, the mentality, that dog mentality, and that's something I always prided myself on. It's all the same when you break it down, the hard work. And honestly, there's two things in life that you can control, and especially in sport. You can't control your coaches. You can't control if you get cut or not. You can't control injuries. All you can control is your effort and your attitude. And quite frankly, the Oilers, they didn't put out a good effort the other game, and they need to take harness of that and come out with a better effort, man.
Well, and that's the thing. You're talking about Game 5 where they got spanked 5-2 and were never really in it. But that's the difference. A football game is one game a week. A hockey game, basketball, a series, baseball even. That's the one thing where it's different. But I think, where's the heat, by the way? Is it on the goalies? Is it on the beloved McDavid and Draisaitl? Or is it split amongst all of them? What are your listeners saying?
Well, there's a lot of heat for sure on the goaltenders. They all season, there's the pro Stuart Skinner camp, and then there's the camp that thinks that, this guy shouldn't even be on a hockey rink. The reality is, if you look at how much they're paying both goaltenders, both of them are making about $3.5 million combined. Bobrovsky's making $10 million, 10.5. So, they've spent money in other places. And up until this point in the playoffs, those other places have really contributed. They've had a lot of depth scoring, and they've been playing really good team hockey. I don't put any of the blame really on the goaltenders, especially Stuart Skinner for Game 5. It was more of a mercy pull to wake and shake the team out of the daze that they were in. Because honestly, if you look back at the first period, Stuart Skinner was getting shelled. And he made some big saves. He let some goals in, but he still made some big saves. It could have been 5-6-0 after that first period.
Well, Eddie, you've lived around this great country. I don't like Edmonton rivals Toronto for pressure, right? Like, for instance, they're putting this on Stan Bowman. He's in his first year as GM, for the love of God. Like, if the goaltending blows up tonight and the guy, I don't know who they're going to blame, but it's not Stan Bowman. I think, it's wild, huh?
It is wild. And you know what? I love the market. The Edmonton market is passionate, Roddy, very passionate. But with that passion comes some insanity. And some of the takes that I see from some people, man, it is outlandish. Where people think that, the choices that they would make would be success. Like Stan Bowman. How are we going to talk about Stan Bowman being an issue? We even look at Jeff Jackson and the moves that they made in the summer, signing Victor Arvidsson and these guys that you thought were going to come in. And they have contributed. Jeff Skinner, for example, they've contributed, but they haven't been these home run hitters that you should have seen the market out here in the summer when they made these signings. You could have been sure that the Oilers were about to win the Stanley Cup. Lo and behold, though, they haven't produced, and it really hasn't panned out the way they wanted it to. Where to put the blame? It goes all around if they don't accomplish the end goal. But me personally, I look at the players first, and I'm always going to look at the superstars. And quite frankly, up until now, here we are in Game 6 in the Cup Finals, Leon and Connor haven't showed up the way they've been needed to show up.
Yet. That's the thing. They could win tonight. It could go to 7, and they could still win. Have we forgotten about that? And by the way, BW writes in.
That's the series.
Yeah. BW writes in. He says they need to hog tie the rat tonight. That's the other thing. Brad Marchand has dialed back the clock, the calendar, and is playing out of his mind. You can't account for when the other team's great, too. Let's not forget about that.
And you can't. They're getting paid over there as well. And, Sasha Barkov, we're talking about Connor McDavid not playing up to his standard or our standard of expectation for him. But you forget Sasha Barkov is one of the best defensive forwards in the game right now. And they have a really strong team. And the way Florida plays, it's not schematically advanced or anything, but boy, they buy into their scheme and they are aggressive. Sometimes it feels like there's 6 guys out on the ice. Edmonton can't even get the puck out of their zone because the forecheck and everything is so aggressive, and Edmonton just can't handle it.
It's a very aggressive is a great way to put it. It's a very exhausting physically way to play, but they've been doing that for a while. It took Paul Maurice half a season to get that cooked into them 3 years ago now, and they've realized it gets results. It's not fun to play. There was resistance, just so you know, in the dressing room. It's hard to play that way, but you win, right? And it's a veteran group, and they want to win. And Wayne in BC writes in, he says, as usual, good analysis, Eddie. Trust me, Wayne, we're getting around to football here right away. But I love Edmonton.
I was going to say, Ron, you got me on here for hockey or some ball?
Yeah. Well, I should have told you. I know you can handle it. I would not have thrown you the ball if I didn't think you could. If I didn't think you could catch it, I wouldn't have thrown you the ball. But I hear that we have a big following in Edmonton. That's what the ratings say. And I also know that that's what the town's talking about right now, despite what I look like. I'm not stupid. But flipping over to football, pretty good segue, actually. Thursday night football is a slobber knocker in my mind. It's the Alouettes at the Edmonton Elcamos. Tell me if that pisses them off. I just get so much fun saying Elcamos. I hope they don't get mad over it. What do you think about
I like that one?
Yeah, it's good. Until I'm told not to, I'm going to keep saying it. Alouettes at Edmonton. It's their home opener for the Elks. What's going to happen?
Well, we all know Montreal has a really strong defense. They play blue-collar football in Montreal. They punch you in the mouth. They're very physical. They're not an exotic team by any means, but they just do their job and do it well. By far the best team in the East right now. I know it's early, but they're 2-0. Everybody else is 0-2. For Edmonton, I really want to see, and I'm not going to put this on Trey Ford. I'm going to put it on the coaching staff. I want to see the coaching staff put Trey Ford in a position to have success. He hasn't really been put in a position where he can utilize his strengths to the best of his ability. And what I mean by that is use the play action. Get his legs active through the play calling, not get his legs active because he's scrambling out of a blitz that's coming his way. Right now in game 1, I saw Trey Ford drop back and do too much traditional passing. And quite honestly, Trey Ford is not there yet as a passer to be able to just to drop back 30 times and throw it. Use the RPO game, the run pass option, throw in some fakes, and then you can capitalize on Trey's athleticism. Rod, throughout the games, Trey does 3 to 5 amazing plays a game. And I sit back and I watch and I just smile because what he's doing, nobody else can do on a football field. But then, though, the other 95% of the time, I want to see him evolve as a passer. But in order to do that, you need to be put in positions for success. And I think Jordan Maximic is going to have a good bounce back week because I don't think he did his best play calling in week 1.
Our director of scouting, Craig Smith, has chimed in. He says, Eddie is great, a good U of M kid. Oh, yeah, he's won a Vanier Cup, a Grey Cup. As John Frenzy would say, he's a winner all the way. And, well, listen, what did you think about the BC game in week 1? Because I'm watching it. And if it not for that punt return blocking from the back, like that was the turning point of the game when they called that return. I thought they had a chance till then.
That BC game, you know what? There was a lot of points left on the table, literally, in that BC game. The kicker, had he have hit one of those field goals that he missed 3, I believe. Had he have hit even one in the first half, it's a different ball game because now you're taking pressure off of the offense and the defense because you're starting to pad your lead. If you remember, Edmonton was up 7-3 at halftime against BC. Now, there's an asterisk there. BC had a dropped wide open touchdown. Javon Cotoy dropped an easy touchdown. But take that out. Edmonton's up 7-3. And it's a ball game. I think we had JC Sherrod on Sports 1440 on the morning show. I think last Monday it was. And he even admitted himself he got out coached by Buck Pierce in the second half. He didn't make the proper adjustments. And I felt like Buck Pierce and the Nathan Rourke-led offense in BC made really nice adjustments using the RPO like I talked about. Fake the run, let Nathan Rourke read the play, and then make those passes. And then tackling. You know, Nathan Rourke entered the bag a couple of times where they could have got off the field, and they had some piss-poor tackling. So all things that's fixable, man.
Listen, you're not afraid to tell it how it is. Is Nathan Rourke overrated, Eddie? Come on.
Ooh, okay. Coming for the spice. You know what? I'm not going to say he's overrated. I'm done talking about his 2022 season. Yeah, it was a great season, or a great 12 games he played before he got injured. I'm done talking about that. You know, let's talk recency. I don't think he is what everybody is talking him to be. So if that's me saying he's overrated in a politically correct way, maybe it is. But right now, I'm in a prove it state, and I want to see guys prove it. And Nathan Rourke, he puts up some really nice numbers, but man, he can't get that monkey of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers off his back. I don't know if he's had any success against the Bombers in his entire CFL career. They know how to game plan and scheme him. And I think that the rest of the CFL, if you want to slow Nathan Rourke down, take a page out of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers book because they seem to have it written well.
0-5, Nathan Rourke against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And by the way, on the overrated thing, I'm just stirring it up with a canoe paddle. You know how I like to do it.
I know how it is.
Craig, our VP, our director of scouting, Craig Smith, says, I think it will take a few games for the Elks to get it together. Added talent, and it's a team game. Jeff, the Stamps fan, writes in. He goes, it looks like Stamps long snapper Aaron Crawford has been placed on the 6th game. That sucks. Aaron watches this show every day, and he's a great guy. I wish him back soon. How about this? Your buddy Cody Fajardo's in Edmonton. Have you guys embraced on the practice field or something? Who saw that coming?
Who saw that coming? Who would have thought? I'll say this, man. I was wrong about Cody, Rod. You know, I gave him a hard time in Sask and thought he didn't handle some things. But ever since he went and won that Grey Cup and won the Grey Cup MOP, he shut up because once you do that, and he played so well, too, down the stretch, you really can't say anything about him, man. And the fact is, he's a hell of a teammate. Everybody knows that. I would like to see, and he most likely will get some reps out here, unless Trey Ford really learns how to take care of his body. History has proven Trey Ford gets banged up a little bit the past 3 years. It's happened every year. So hopefully that's not the case, knock on wood. But it's the CFL, and we know you're going to need both quarterbacks at a certain point in time. No different than the Edmonton Oilers. They got 2 goalies, and you're going to need them both if you want to win this cup. It's the same thing with the football club, and I'm sure Cody's going to get some reps at a certain point in time. And I'm curious because Cody is going to bring a calming veteran presence, which is something a little bit different than what Trey Ford brings.
Well, here's the thing. Cody hasn't always been like that. And I'm going to tell you something that you will get, and I hope people are paying attention that don't. You and I have had these conversations over the counter at my pizza restaurant because I don't think you know Cody personally. Do you, Eddie? Have you met him?
No, not
No.
like you, that's for sure.
Okay, so when you get this, when you give every ounce of sweat and blood and tears to something, and it turns around and kicks you in the balls, it hurts. And he didn't handle it well. He'll tell you that. You had that happen to you too. That's why I'm saying that. And you bit
And
your
I
tongue.
did have it happen. And the difference, I guess, would be I'm not the starting quarterback face of a franchise where everybody's putting a mic in my face. So I do have that grace for Cody. I do.
That's the similarity, my man. You went through the exact same thing. And he wishes that he could go back and change things. Don't we all? But the past is the past. And now you say he's the veteran. Yeah, he is. But he wasn't always like that. And when he and when he gets on the field, do you think he gives it up? Because I don't. Like, I had a coach call me and go, Rod, I know you love the guy, but we looked at the film and he just doesn't have it. I'm like, well, I looked at the film too, and I saw him winning the. What is it they don't see? I don't understand.
Yeah, sometimes coaches get so caught up in just the game film itself, but there's more than just the film. There's the intangible of the player, the human, and different elements that they bring, even just to the locker room, the culture. Sure, part of the signing was to bring in a backup for Trey Ford, but you better believe another part of the signing was to bring in a mentor, someone who's had success in the league and who kind of plays a similar style, an athletic type of a scrambling style. You know they brought him in here to mentor Trey and to show him the ways.
And he will. He absolutely will. It's cool, by the way. Jason Ma's coming back. The more I talk about Edmonton and with you, who, I mean, you're not from there, but you might as well be. Ma's showing up, I would think, means something to that
It
town.
does.
Yeah.
It
You
does.
talk about that?
Yeah, it does mean something. And you want to get after him, of course. He's a special dude. He did a lot for the city, the community, and he still lives here in the off season, if I'm not mistaken. He lives out in Sherwood Park, I believe. He's a big hunter, so we all know it's good hunting territory out this way. He's beloved out here, quite honestly. They never wished that he left the way things did back. I think it was after 2018. And I personally didn't think that things should have went the way they went back then either. I liked him as a coach, blue collar man. And from a defensive lineman, when your head coach he was a lot fiery back then. He's more tame now. But when he has that mentality, very much like a Mike O'Shea, rugged, all about team culture. We don't care about numbers or anything like that. It's all about the winning and the team. And Moss brings that element.
Well, here's the thing. There were so many sins committed in the last decade in that town. And at the very least, Chris Morris and Ed Hervey and Mark Killam are starting to right them, right? That's the sense that I get. And the people will come back, won't they?
They certainly are, man. Even going back a couple of weeks, rehiring Dwayne Mandrusiak, getting him back in the fold. That you just doing little things like that. Well, that's a big one. But taking steps to mend the relationship with the community. And that's what this team is doing. They're now very active back in schools and putting on camps and doing all the right things. But you know what, Rod? Ain't none of it matters if you don't win football games. Win football games and people will come. You can do all the reparations to the relationships that you want in the community. Win football games. I've never seen a Grey Cup champion, a Super Bowl champion play in front of a crowd that's half sold out. No, winners have people come out. Winners win, and people want to see winners win.
Nicely said. It's all gone bad. They've lost and screwed it up in the community and off the field. All right, Eddie, great job. I'll read some comments here from the viewers in a sec. Bye, Ed. Great job. Good seeing you, man. Enjoy the game Thursday. I'll read the comments when we come back. How about that, everybody? Plus a sports update the rest of the way. What a great show we're having today here on Game Plus TV.
Honky Tonk legend Mark Chestnut. Celebrating 35 years of music. Joined by special guest Aaron Goodvin. June 28th at Temple Garden Center. Tickets on sale now at Temple Garden Center box office or online at sasktix.ca.
Shania Twain.
Let's go, girls.
Live in Moose Jaw. Shania Twain. One incredible show. Live at Temple Garden Center July 7th. With special guest Lindsay L. Get tickets Friday, March 21st at 10 a.m. at the Temple Garden Center's box office or sasktix.ca. For more, visit shaniatwain.com.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
I'm Bridget Lequette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Did you know that you can help save life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Okay, everybody, it's been another fantastic show. We got lots of time left in this program today, 18 minutes. And then, Corey, here, production note. I got to jump there. I will not be on the post-show call today. I got to rip. I'm sitting here going, should I say it? For those that are watching, no, it may get me in trouble. It may get me sued. That's what I'm worried about. What do you think would be the code word? You weren't living here in the 80s, so you wouldn't understand the reference. If you need to drive really fast between Regina and Moose Jaw, what would you call it? I need to blank it. I need to blank it. Or two words. It's a name. I need to blank it. Boom. You will never get it. You might want to go to ChatGPT. You might want to go to, you were what? You were still living somewhere else. Abroad? We're in the early 80s, he was not born. That's kind of what you were still, you were in. Oh, okay. He was still in Baghdad. Look it up. ChatGPT. Who drove really fast between Regina and Moose Jaw in the early 80s? So that's the code word for anybody of my generation around here. Our VP, Director of Scouting, Craig Smith, says, Jason Maas is an amazing football man. He's an amazing man, too. And that's why these guys are leaders of men. Hard to pick a winner Thursday. I want them both to win. Mark Killam versus Jason Maas. Frenzy would say, two great guys. Okay. 902-518-3033. As we talked about Cody Fajardo, our VP of Sim Events, Nilsson Hakowicz, says you can't measure heart. Wayne in BC says, I've always liked Cody Fajardo, even when the Rider fans were railroading him out of town. Yeah. Doesn't feel real good. Some handle it better than others. Sports update. It's do or die for the Edmonton Oilers tonight as they look to avoid elimination and force a Game 7 of the Stanley Cup. The defending champion Florida Panthers, who lead the best-of-7 series 3-2, can win back-to-back titles on home ice with a win tonight in Game 6. Game 7, if necessary, goes Friday in Edmonton. The fun part of that, where I personalize this for you, is I have had multiple South Florida friends texting me today going, are they going to win? And I'm like, why are you asking? Because I don't want to pay $1,000 to $5,000 if they're going to lose. Yeah, I think they'll win, but don't blame me if they don't. Which, actually, I have a point on that, but I'll come back. The Abbotsford Canucks host the Charlotte Checkers tonight in Game 3 of the Calder Cup. The team split a pair of overtime games in Charlotte, North Carolina. The next 3 will be in Abbotsford. The Toronto Blue Jays, coming off 3 straight weekend losses to the Philadelphia Phillies, open a 3-game series tonight against the visiting Arizona Diamondbacks. Chris Bassett on the mound for the Jays. The sports update is for Heavy Gym. It isn't just about lifting weights over there. It's about lifting your spirit, your strength, and your potential. Step into the gym. That's changing lives. Find out more at heavygym.ca. I had a note here. Louisiana soon could raise taxes on sports betting to help finance the athletic departments at many of its public universities. Legislation pending before Governor Jeff Landry would make Louisiana the first state to raise taxes for college sports, since a judge approved a landmark settlement allowing schools to directly pay athletes for use of their name, image, and likeness. Just so you know, if you care, not all the schools have somebody out selling advertising. Not every school has a booster that's going to write a check for the players. I'm not going to name the schools that don't, because that will make them look bad. But they can't compete in the environment of the Alabamas and the LSUs and the OSUs, Ohio State. So, hey, let's tax the people that like to sports bet even higher and give that money to the university. Yeah, it's a tax on the willing. I used to call it a tax on the stupid, but since I have a deal with a sports betting company and we have worked with several, no, it's a tax on the willing. And I feel like we should talk about sports betting a little bit when we come back after the break. I'm not saying that you're dumb. What I'm saying is you're willing. How's that? The odd, we get it pushed in the face, but the thing is, it's really, 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 really big, and it's making the leagues and the teams a lot of money that you don't have to pay, by the way. So we'll continue that on Overtime and more with whatever you'd like to talk about when we return here on Game Plus TV.
Hi, my name is Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
I'm Bridget Lequette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Shania Twain.
Let's go, girls.
Live in Moose Jaw. Shania Twain. One incredible show. Live at Temple Garden Center, July 7th. With special guest, Lindsay L. Get tickets Friday, March 21st at 10 a.m. at the Temple Garden Center's box office or sasktix.ca. For more, visit ShaniaTwain.com.
Honky Tonk legend Mark Chestnut. Celebrating 35 years of music. Joined by special guest Aaron Goodvin. June 28th at Temple Garden Center. Tickets on sale now at Temple Garden Center box office or online at sasktix.ca.
All right, we are back with overtime. Somebody who said, it was actually Brent from Wellington, Florida, said that these sunglass strings need to go. They're not sunglass strings, okay? They're my headphones, and I'm old, and I'm never going with earpods, and I'm okay with it, so deal with it. Just putting that out there. It is overtime for our friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. July 29th is the date of the Western Canadian Scouting Foundation Wall of Fame dinner, which I'll be in Okotoks, Alberta. Coming out there, my dad is being inducted into the Western Canadian Scouts Hall of Fame. So I'm going to incorporate, the reason I bring that up, a little sachet into Calgary to see Overtime Hockey Lanes. It's right on the edge of town, just a snapshot away from the old Crossroads Flea Market. I always want to see Randy and Michelle when I'm out there. I think that might be the only time that I'm in Calgary this summer, by the way. But anyways, there is no off-season at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. Get the kids out of the house for one of their popular daytime hockey camps, week-long hockey camps. Just check out their website at overtimehl.ca for any information or to sign up. Or better yet, stop in and see Randy and Michelle. They've been with us for years. It's because it works. And thank you, Southern Alberta, for checking them out and making us look good there. 902-518-3033. Just to finish off on the topic of Louisiana taxing sports betting to fund public universities for NIL for their players. It's such an American thing. But BW in Edmonton brings up the question. He says, in Canadian college football, are players getting fully paid scholarships similar to what U.S. college teams before NIL became a factor? Well, people that would know more than me could answer that better, but I would suggest some are, but not everybody. There's 100 guys on the team. They're not all getting free rides, but the best ones are. How about that? Getting partial scholarships, I believe, is the way that it works in Canada. Western Dodge brings you the text line 902-518-3033. Drive with confidence. Shop Western Dodge in Moose Jaw. Financing, selection, and service you can count on. The code Nah, I won't say it. I just won't say it. The code was to speed from Regina to Moose Jaw is blanking it. And it has to do with a very famous murder trial in the early 80s. And somebody dropped that on me last week. Nah, it's not a laughing matter, but it's become a verb to drive really fast between these two wonderful cities. Talking about ticket prices for Game 6 of the Stanley Cup tonight, 1,000 to 5,000. I think there's probably tickets going for more than 5,000 tonight. Wilf in Steinbach, Manitoba writes, and he says, "Hey, Rod, for $5,000, I would want to stand beside Paul Maurice." I mean, I wouldn't pay it, but there are those that will. You know? And I got to bless the National Hockey League for granting the Rod Pedersen Show access to all games of the Stanley Cup final. Turns out we could only use the pass for Sunrise, but Serena's going tonight, and she'll be covering Game 6 of the Stanley Cup for us tonight, so that's exciting. Follow our social media channels at The Rod Pedersen Show, and for that matter, the Cats and Bolts podcast for coverage live from Amerit Bank Arena. But I can tell you this. If the Panthers win, there will be no coverage from her of the Stanley Cup being handed out. We learned that last year, but fortunately, I have other people set up in the arena set to send me photos and video should it happen. Jeremy is in, where are you, Jeremy? Calgary, Alberta. He writes in and he says, "Do you guys play the CFL Fantasy every week? I like it. I got to hook you up, Jeremy. You're clearly watching on Game Plus Television. If you flipped over to YouTube right now, there's a whole bunch of guys in the YouTube chat that are playing CFL Fantasy. Can I put you guys together? That's kind of a hallmark of what I do, bringing people together, but I don't play fantasy. I used to play NFL Fantasy. I'm going to tell you something. You probably don't know my story, but when you win at gambling, things fire in your brain for people like me that do bad things. At best, it makes you think you can be the general manager of an NFL team. Oh, I won on DraftKings. That must mean I can run the Dallas Cowboys. At worst, you're betting your house, all your cash, and taking out loans to pay off. No. The answer is no. But there are a lot of guys that do. Okay, not the biggest NBA fan here. We've established that. I'm not a hater. I'm just not a huge fan. I didn't know that Seattle had won an NBA title, and shame on Trent in Norway, who wrote in and said that they hadn't. Both Laverne in Regina and Greg in Calgary write in and say the Seattle Supersonics beat Washington in 1979 for the NBA championship. They are now Oklahoma City. So thank you. I wasn't sure about that. It will be the first championship for the state of Oklahoma, but not the first for the franchise. BW says, "What's for lunch, Rod? A Tim Hortons wrap?" No, I had one of those the other day. I had a bit of Tim Hortons every day. My choice, going to Moxie's. I'll be having the cheese broccoli soup and loving every minute of it. 31 years ago, David Hasselhoff's singing career crashed as well. Why are we bringing these things up? He was not a singer. He was the night rider. As producer Corey says, 10 years ago, the rest of his career crashed as well. He's the night rider. He's a lifeguard. He's not a singer. Does he not have friends? People should have told him, just chill out with the singing. You've done well in the black leather jacket and the bathing suit. Don't sing. People need friends to tell them that. Like Kevin Costner needs friends. You're not a singer. You're a great actor. You're a really good-looking guy, but you can't sing. I tell my friends when they're bad at things. It's probably why I spend a lot of lonely time. Trent writes in and says, "Oh, yeah, I stand corrected." Well, that helps a lot now. Okay, see you tomorrow, noon Eastern.
Now I'm the whore and the pimp. That's where the money is.
How about that?